Hello, gentlemen. It's Sathos here with another installment of my guide to a successful empire. Today, we will be discussing how to generally manage your current cities. I have a baron in the works. I'll have the next installment up tomorrow about how to plan a new city, because that seems to be the popular thing. But right now, I'm going to tell you how to generally manage your cities. First thing you want to focus on is wood and stone production above all else. Wood and stone are the spice of this game, and as they say, the spice must flow. You must have abundant production of wood and stone. Let's see here. For instance, my city Pharsalis produces a great deal of wood and stone. It doesn't cost anything to upkeep, so it's basically all production at this point. Took quite a bit of resources to get it up to this point, and I'm going to cover that a little bit later when I discuss outflow versus inflow. Let's see here. If you want to focus on one resource in particular for your new cities, or for producing in your current cities, you want to focus on wood if you need more production, because wood is generally required in greater amounts for the production buildings. And you want stone for construction, gold, or military buildings. Now, because this is a management tutorial, I'm going to tell you how to manage a military. Most of you don't need to worry about that until you have 6 or 7 cities, and then the military part of the tutorial will come in handy. Let's see here. Probably the main thing you want to manage is your inflow versus your outflow. For here, I'm going to bring up my minister view so I can just look at what's going on. But for those of you who don't have it, you can just click on each city and see what each city is producing. You want to make sure that each city isn't spending more than it can, and if a city needs to get up to a certain level, you need to be able to trade resources to that city. Intercity trade is very important. Setting up a trade minister to do that is pretty easy. You can just set it up to trade to a particular city. For instance, I have this city set up to deliver its surplus resources to another city that I'm building up, which is fairly nearby, Leontini, which is farm and iron city. You want to make sure that your trades are set up so that cities that need resources get the resources, and cities that don't need the resources get the resources out. And if you can't get the resources out of a city, or if you don't have any new cities up that need resources, I suggest building warehouses or converting it into purified resources to avoid resource loss. An important part of managing your empire is anticipating future expansion. And that might mean slowing down advancements in particular cities in order to save up enough wood or stone or whatever resource you might need in order to advance and build a new city. So those of you who just go out there and try to upgrade a city up to 10, I would advise waiting until you have 2 or 3 cities before even trying to upgrade beyond 8 or 9 in your buildings. It just takes far too long, and you can produce a lot more resources just by spreading yourself out. It's pretty cheap to build new buildings. I'm going to cover ministers a little bit, because ministers are a fairly key part in maintaining an empire without going crazy. Like, building minister is absolutely essential. If you don't have one right now, and if you haven't gotten a taste of one and known what you're missing, I suggest just shelling out the $5 to get a building minister for a month. This thing is so helpful, I don't know how you can live without one. As far as the other ministers go, the trade minister is pretty useful, like I said. It keeps you from having to micromanage all those intercity trades. You can just set things up so that they'll trade automatically. It's not so useful until you have a couple cities and micromanaging becomes a problem. Other ministers, the war minister is pretty good because he lets you raid fairly often, and I'll cover that a little bit later in a different installment as far as managing a military city goes. And he'll just let you raid repeatedly while you're asleep instead of having to wait until your waking hours. I haven't used the defense minister very much. I imagine he's more for late game when we're all castled up and we're trying to just stay alive. Speaking of maintaining an army, let me go over to my current army city. As you can see, the city's been building up a storm. It's just been building guys left and right, and they've been raiding. But it costs a lot of food to maintain an army, as you can see. I've got a bunch of farms here. I don't suggest trying to do an army city without having farms ready to support them. The iron's not so necessary because that's only needed to replenish them. But if you want to keep your army fed and happy and not dying on you when you're under siege, you got to have some farms in there in order to have them survive. As far as raiding goes, raiding's pretty profitable. Like as you can see, there's a dragon like right next to the city. I already raided it. It actually, I lost this dragon for some reason, even though I sent way more guys than I needed to. But raiding even level dungeons or high level monsters with your troops is a great way to produce resources for your city and a great way to upkeep everything. Probably the only thing that you have left to know about resource management or city management in this installment is how to manage your gold. I know gold's a really tough resource to come by, mainly because the buildings aren't very productive and you just need so very much of it. You need an equivalent amount to any other resource for advancement, and even more to research the Baron. It's a pain in the ass. My advice is to get a gold city built by maybe your third or your fourth city. And they maintain themselves. You just have to provide them with stone and a little bit of wood to upgrade the buildings. Make sure that you always have your cottages out, always have your construction speed up. And they'll just fend for themselves as long as you don't make the city too appetizing. No one's even going to be raiding it. There's nothing to even raid. It's gold, can't be taken. So just get these bad boys going. Like as you can see, it doesn't even take that much to produce enough gold to last for a while. But you gotta have a city in order to produce enough gold to maintain your empire eventually. Yeah, I feel like that should give you guys a pretty good idea of how to manage your city. I understand this hasn't been a very informative tutorial, but there isn't really very much to say. Basically, you just have to create a good flow between your resource out and your resource in. Make sure that you're upgrading your buildings. Wood and stone has to come first, and you eventually have to concentrate on all your resources. Alright, have a good one.